Ecologists study different hierarchical levels in examining how organisms interact with their environment, including organismal, population, community, ecosystem, and global perspectives. So they can be thoughtfully applied to conservation areas by biology to preserve species and restore environments. To analyze why organisms live where they do and in what numbers, biologists consider ecology at several levels. This is a common strategy across biological science. For example, cell biologists study how cells work at different levels of organization, with individual molecules, cellular structures, cells, and multicellular organisms. Physiologists work at the level of molecules, as well as whole cells, tissues, organs, and complete systems. In ecology, researchers work at these 5 main levels: organisms, populations, communities, ecosystems, and the biosphere. The levels aren't rigid or exclusive. Researchers routinely draw on multiple levels, including lower levels, to explore a particular question. At the organismal level, researchers study the morphological, physiological, and behavioral adaptations that allow individuals to live in a particular area. For example, after spending 4 or 5 years feeding and growing in the ocean, sockeye salmon travel hundreds or thousands of kilometers to return to the stream where they hatched. Females create nests in the gravel stream bottom and lay eggs. Nearby males compete for the chance to fertilize those eggs as they are laid. Then, when breeding is finished, all the adults die. Organismal ecologists look at such interactions of organisms with their physical surroundings and with other organisms in and around the stream. A population is a group of individuals of the same species that lives in the same area at the same time. When biologists study population ecology, they focus on how the number and distribution of individuals in a population change over time. For example, researchers use the mathematical models to predict the future of salmon populations. Many populations decline due to overharvesting and loss of habitat quality caused by pollution and dam construction. In the factors that affect population size can be described accurately enough. Mathematical models can assess the impact of proposed dams, changes in weather patterns, altered harvest levels, or specific types of protection efforts. A biological community consists of populations of different species that interact with each other within a particular area. Community ecologists study the interactions between species and the consequences of those interactions. Research may address predation, parasitism, and competition, or how communities respond to fires, floods, or other disturbances. As an example, consider the interactions among salmon and other species in marine and stream communities. When at sea, salmon eat smaller fish and are themselves hunted and eaten by orcas, sea lions, humans, and other mammals. When they return to the freshwater to breed, they're preyed on by bears and bald eagles. In both marine and freshwater habitats, salmon are subject to parasitism and disease. They're also affected by disturbances and changes in their food supply and the quality of their breeding streams. Ecosystem ecology is an extension of organismal, population, and community ecology. An ecosystem consists of all the organisms in a specific region along with the non-living components. These physical and chemical or abiotic components include air, water, and the non-living parts of soil. The ecosystem level includes how nutrients and energy move among organisms and the surrounding atmosphere and soil or water. Salmon are interesting to study at the ecosystem level because they link marine and freshwater ecosystems. They harvest nutrients in the ocean and then migrate, die, and decompose, transporting those molecules to streams and forests. In this way, salmon transport chemical energy and nutrients from one habitat to another. Actions of people may alter distant ecosystems, creating difficult education and public policy challenges. For example, salmon are sensitive to changes in water temperature. Who is accountable for the impacts of climate change on salmon? Biologists define the biosphere as a thin zone surrounding the Earth where all life exists. the sum of all terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, extending 5 kilometers below the land surface and 10 kilometers down in the deepest trenches of the sea to over 10 kilometers up into the atmosphere. This may sound like a thick layer, but it represents only 0.002% of the diameter of the Earth. And most of life occupies a much thinner layer. The field of global ecology is growing rapidly as ecologists mobilize to quantify the effects of human impacts on the biosphere. Humans are modifying landscapes and releasing massive amounts of energy and nutrients to the biosphere, causing changes that transcend individual ecosystems. The 5 levels of ecological study are synthesized and applied in conservation biology. Conservation biology is the effort to study, preserve, and restore the threatened genetic diversity in populations, species diversity in communities, and ecosystem function. Conservation biologists are like physicians, but instead of prescribing treatments for sick people, they prescribe remedies for threatened environments to preserve biodiversity, clean air, pure water, and productive soils.